Hey everyone, thanks for joining us. I'm Elliot with Digitalized Software, and today I'm excited to share about some new features and functionality coming to Receive Digital in version 3.4. Version 3.4 will go live this coming Monday, and this update is all about improving the efficiency and the flow of receiving items, specifically the image capturing portion of the process. This functionality is core to the application, and it's functionality that our users utilize on a daily basis. So we want to make sure we give you all of the information and all of the details about it prior to the release. But before we dive into those details, let me first give you an overview of everything that we're going to cover on today's webinar. First, we'll take a look at what the current process for capturing images looks like to establish where we came from and why these improvements are needed. Then, I'll show you the new version of the capture process, highlighting what's changed and how it's going to help you receive items more efficiently. And finally, we'll look at a couple different use cases of receiving, and I'll suggest some settings you can adjust to optimize each of them. Now, let's jump in. All right, first, let's review what it looks like to capture images with the single capture method right now. I'm going to be using my tablet to capture images today, but the process will look identical if you're on a phone or if you're on a computer with a dock camera connected. So once I'm logged in to Receive Digital, I'll go in the left menu and click Receive. And then at the top right, I'll tap Receive Items to start a new Receive session. As I mentioned, I'm going to be using the single capture method, and I'm going to be receiving mail in this example. The rest of the settings here I'll leave as default. Once I tap Start Receiving in the top right, I'm brought into the camera, and here's where I can capture my first image. So I'll capture an item, and then I'm asked to review that image that I just took. This one looks fine, so I'll go ahead and tap Confirm in the top right. And then auto assign and auto crop will begin to work. Now, I can wait on this screen for them to finish. In this case, I'm just going to tap continue in the top right, and I'll capture another image here. Once again, I'm asked to review this image. This one looks good. And I'll tap continue to capture one more here. And for the last time, I'm asked to review again. This looks good, confirm. And then once I'm done capturing images, I'll tap Review Items at the top. And this is where I can now review all of the images that I just captured, make sure that all are assigned. In this case, the 3 that I captured were all successfully assigned. And then from here, I would go on to send notifications to recipients. So that's what the current imaging process looks like. As you can see, it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty simple. However, it does require a few clicks for every item that I receive, and that can slow me down a bit, especially if I want to just capture a bunch of images back to back. So now I'm going to show you what the new process looks like and how it's going to make your workflow more efficient. Okay, once again, I'll navigate to Receive in the left menu, and I'll tap Receive Items at the top to start a new Receive session. I'm going to leave all of the settings exactly the same as they were before, so I'm going to be using the single capture method, and I'll be receiving mail for this example again. When I tap Start Receiving in the top right, you'll see again I'm brought straight into the camera, where I can capture my first image. However, this time, when I capture an image, you'll notice I'm not asked to immediately review that image that I just took. I actually stay in the camera where I can very quickly move on to the next item and capture another image. So I'll capture a couple more here. And you'll also notice there's a new thumbnail in the bottom left corner. Just like the default camera app on your smartphone, this thumbnail shows me a little preview of the image that I just captured. And if I tap that thumbnail, I'm brought to the edit screen for that particular item. Now here's where I have all of the same editing functionality that I had before. Although you will notice there is one new icon at the top, and that's the little trash can. And if I tap that, you can see I now have the ability to delete an item right from this screen. So I'll go ahead and delete this one. And there's one new element here as well, and that's the little arrow on the left side of the screen. I can use these arrows on the sides of the screen to navigate between all of the images that I just captured in order. If you're on a mobile device or a tablet, like I am, you can also just swipe in the middle of the screen to navigate between these items. Now, if I want to capture more images from here, I can just tap Continue, and I'll capture one more image here. And then when I'm done, I have the review items at the top right, just as I did before. And the process from here remains exactly the same. I would go ahead and review all of my items, make sure they're assigned properly, and then send notifications to recipients. Now you will notice we also added the delete icon here, so I can delete items from this page as well now. So that's what the new imaging process looks like. Now let's take a look at a few different unique use cases and see exactly how this new process works in those use cases. So first, if all I need to do when I'm receiving items is capture images, you've seen how the new process allows me to do this much more efficiently by eliminating 2 clicks for every item that I receive. In fact, after some of our own testing, we found that the time it takes to just image items can be reduced by around 25% with the new process. However, if I need to sort items out as I'm receiving them to prepare them for something like a delivery route, then I have a couple different options for how I might structure my workflow. Let me show you what I mean in the application. So I'll go ahead and tap Continue Receiving to navigate back to the camera. And the first option here is to sort items as I receive them right after I image them. So I'll take an item and image it, and then I'll tap the thumbnail in the bottom left. And once auto assign is done, I have the recipient information right there at the top right to reference to be able to sort it. So I'll sort this one to the blue route to prepare that for delivery on my blue route. And then I would move on to the next item. So I'd continue and capture the next item. Once again, tap the thumbnail. And once auto assign is done, there we go. I have the recipient information. This one, again, will go to the blue route. So that would be how I would structure my process if I wanted to do it this way. If this is how you prefer to process items, then we recommend turning on faster assignment for auto assign. We added this setting in the previous update, and it essentially allows you to choose from 2 different modes for auto assign. Faster assignment or higher reliability. Here's how you can control that setting in Receive Digital. I'll exit out of receiving, and in the left menu, I'll go to Mailroom. And then under the Settings tab, I'm going to scroll to the bottom. Here's where you can see I have settings for auto assign, and you'll see I have faster assignment selected already. And this is essentially going to ensure that items are assigned very quickly, meaning I won't have to wait long for the recipient information to appear on that edit screen, as you just saw. However, with this option, items that have recipient information that's difficult to read are less likely to be assigned, meaning I may need to then assign those manually. And depending on how many of these types of items you have, items in which the recipient information is harder to read, you may or may not prefer this setting. So we recommend that you try both and choose the one that works best in your specific environment. No matter which option you choose though, we have made some improvements to auto assign across the board. First, we've reduced the time it takes for items to be assigned by further optimizing our algorithms and the image size. We've also improved AutoAssign's ability to assign items when the recipient name is not a standard first name and last name. So for example, In situations where the recipient name is the name of an institution or a department name, AutoAssign is much more likely to recognize that and assign it to the correct recipient. Okay, now let's talk about a second method for processing items when I need to sort them out. And this involves imaging all of the items first, allowing AutoAssign to kind of work in the background, and then going back through that stack to sort items out. So here's what that might look like in the application. I will navigate back to receive and start receiving again. And this time, again, I'm going to capture all of my images first. So I'll take an item here and capture an image, set it off to the side, take my next item, capture an image. And now as I set these off to the side, I'm going to make sure I keep them in the order that I've imaged them. This will be important later when I go back through this stack. So I'll do just a couple more for this demonstration. And now that I've captured all my images, I can go ahead and tap the little thumbnail in the bottom left. And now, as I showed you before, I can use the arrows to navigate between these items to see the recipient information for each item. So this is the image I just captured. You can see this one needs to go to the blue route, so I'd take this one, sort it to the blue route. The next one, I can see this one goes to the red route. And the next one, and I'm simply just going back through the stack that I just created to properly sort items. There is another way to do this as well, and I can do this from the Review Items screen. So if I tap Review Items in the top right, again, here's all of the items that I just imaged, and I can simply navigate through this list to be able to sort them to the proper location. We've made this easier on a computer. If you're on a computer and you're using, say, a connected dock camera, you can simply use your arrow keys on the keyboard or the space bar to navigate through this list. So that makes it a bit easier to navigate through items as you're going back through your stack to sort them. So those are two methods for how I might structure my workflow, as well as how I might go about sorting items as I receive them with the new capturing process. With these improvements coming to Receive Digital in version 3.4, we're confident that your receiving process is going to become more efficient and more intuitive. Again, version 3.4 will go live this coming Monday, April 28th. We're excited for you to try it out, and we hope to hear your feedback once you do. If you have any questions or requests, don't hesitate to reach out to our support team or visit our Help Center. You can click on the little Help Center button in the bottom left corner of the application. That's all we have today for this short little webinar. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.